today I've chosen as a topic, what's fishing got to do with it? What's fishing got to do with it? And I chose this topic, this ideal, this action that surrounds the word fish. And as I worked on and studied this topic, I found it to be a very confusing word. And as I bounced this ideal off of other people, I kind of got the same vibe back from them. You know, therefore, what's fishing got to do with it? And so, when I start looking at this word, I noticed that it has multiple meanings that go in two different directions. See, if you look at the word as a noun, symbolizing an ideal, or you can look at this word as a verb, symbolizing an action. The online Meridian's dictionary defines the word fish this way as a noun, symbolizing an ideal. A limbless, cold-blooded vertebrate animal with gills and fins living wholly in water. And then they define the word this way as a verb, symbolizing action. To catch or to try to catch, typically using a net or a hook and a line. To look for something by feeling one's way. To seek something in a different way. So, what does this word fish have to do with your solutions and your dreams? Now, you've probably heard the oft-repeated statement, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach a man how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So why is it that we don't learn to fish for our dreams and fish for our solutions? Why is it that we don't teach those that we love to fish? Why is it that some of us learn to fish but never actually go fishing for our dreams?
Some of them never get desired.
Perhaps this is why we sometimes feel like a fish out of water. Perhaps this is why we start moving but have no idea where we're going, how to get there, and then we wonder why we never seem to catch that all-elusive fish. So, how do you fish? Tonight I want to talk to you, I want to have a conversation with you about the process of fishing. And the first portion of that process is preparation. What are you looking to catch? When you know what you're looking to catch, then this will tell you what bait to use, what equipment to use, and where you have to fish. When I go fishing, I don't get to do it very often. And since I don't get to do it very often, one of the first things I do is is I find somebody that fishes and I say, hey, we're the best spot at. I don't want to go out there and sit all day and not catch a fish. And so sometimes in the things that we're looking to do in our lives, be it finding that solution or going after a dream, you need to ask somebody, and somebody up here said, we're fishing. And so this conversation, one of the things that helped me come up with this topic originated from conversations with my father. We have a lot of back and forth conversations about fishing. My dad's a preacher. I want y'all to understand right quick up front, I'm not the preacher man. I'm just the preacher man's son. But me and him, we have a lot of conversations about fishing, and obviously he's fishing for souls. He's fishing for me. But I got the ideal and the concept for this topic, and you can write this down, we'll look at it later, but I got this from the book of John 21, the 1st through the 11th verse, and Mark chapter 1 and 17. Sometimes what you'll notice is that there's problems between the young and the old. Sometimes there's relationship problems between men and women. Sometimes there's work problems between the employee and the employer, or maybe even the businessman and the client. And so, how do you catch the solution to that? In preparing for this, I had a conversation with numerous people. One of the people that I spoke with was a businesswoman, and she told me about a problem that she's looking for a solution for. She's trying to figure out how does she catch the solution. This lady is a consultant, and she meets with different businesses, and the business people that she meets with are pulling their hair trying to figure out how to deal with today's employees. You see, yesterday's employees might have called in on slick leave, but today they don't call in at all.
Oh, wow.
They don't call in at all. And as I listened to her, what I noticed that the problem is that the management, the leadership of the company, they're fishing with the wrong bait. And so many times when you're looking for a solution or you're trying to go after your dream, you got to make sure that you're fishing with the right bait. And you have to make sure that you're fishing in a lake that has fish. Sometimes when you're looking to catch your dream, you have to zero in your focus. You You have to do the preparation for it. And fishing, that entails what type of bait you're going to use. And what type of equipment you're going to use. See, if you're looking to catch a big fish, you can't do that from the shore. You know, in my experience in the military about 20 years ago, I had an opportunity to fish in the Pacific Ocean. And I got on a boat. Now, I just had a rod and a reel, but the boat actually had a captain's chair with an attached reel. And I saw a gentleman reel in about an 8-foot swordfish. But the point is, he couldn't catch that fish from the shore. We had to go out into the ocean. And so as you think about your dreams, and as you think about your solutions, sometimes you've got to go out into the water. You have to go out into the water to find the solution. You can't stand on the shore to catch the fish. Then sometimes we go to these restaurants, we go to Red Lobster, we eat fish. And when you look at those fishermen, they fish with a net. Because their concept is they're going to catch a lot of fish at one time. And so, depending on what you're fishing for, you have to use different equipment. And so, I want to tell you another story. I want to tell you a story about somebody that wasn't a fisher. Somebody that didn't fish, at least not for fishes. But he taught fishermen how to fish. And that story is the one that you'll find in John 1 through 11. And that story, what it describes is, it describes a group of master fishermen. And this is what they did. You know, sometimes you have that subject matter expert, all they do is that one particular thing. They know it upside down and inside out. They know it backwards and forwards. They know it in their sleep. And these gentlemen were that type of fishermen. And they had been fishing all day. They had been fishing into the night. But they didn't catch a single fish. And in today's slang, they might say they didn't catch nary fish. No, not one. And so there was a gentleman that was on the shore that didn't fish. This gentleman, he told them one thing. And see, sometimes when you're fishing, for your solutions, when you're fishing for your dreams, you gotta listen. And it just might be that person that doesn't know anything about what you're doing that can give you that key. This gentleman, he told them one simple thing. And that simple thing was to cast your net on the right side. Now, when I first looked at it, I thought he said to cast your net on the other side. But what he really told him was to cast your net on the right side. And so sometimes when you're fishing, what this symbolizes for me is change. You got to be willing to change. And so many times when you've been doing something, when it's just what you do, when you know it inside out, you're not feeling that. Why should I change? Why should I do it another way? But when this gentleman told the fishermen to cast your net on the right side, they came back with more fish than they ever could have imagined catching. They had so many fish that their nets could not hold the fish that they had. From one simple thing, to cast your net on the other side. Now there's something else about fishing that I got to tell you, and it has to do with patience. So many times when you're going after your dreams and when you're going after your desires, you don't want to be patient. You know, you want everything right here, right now. You want to put it in the microwave for 30 seconds and it's done. But it don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Some of us today, we have all of the equipment to fish with. We've done all of the preparation. But I challenge and I implore you to take that step. See, somebody told me a story about some fishermen, some people that wanted to learn how to fish. So they went to the store and they got a fishing rod. They went back to the store and they got a tackle box. They went to the local bait shop and they got some bait. They got online and they ordered the DVDs of how to be the perfect fisherman. And they brought it all back to the classroom and they played the DVDs and they got familiar with the equipment. But they just had one problem. They never actually went out and fished. And sometimes that's what happens to us. We get all of the equipment, we get everything together, but we don't go out and fish. And some of us today, we have all of the equipment to fish with. We've done the preparation. We've even went fishing, but we have no patience. And are unwilling to change direction. We've been to the lake. We even went where the fish used to be. But now the fish have moved to the right side. And I want each and every one of you to know that there's fish out there waiting to be caught. Somebody here has a dream, has a talent, has a desire. They're not fishing. And there's some fish that are waiting to be caught. They're just waiting on you to fish. Last but not least, some of us refuse to use the right bait. We've done no preparation for the fish that we want to catch. We think fishing is all about what we want. And sadly, if we don't change, we will always return home with an empty boat. You have to change the bait. This is the problem that the lady was describing to me when she was talking about the difference between the employer and the employee. The employer thinks that because in his generation everyone was motivated by money and promotion, you could hold this carrot over top of people that you can get people to move. But today's generation, they don't too much care about that. You know, lay me off. They don't too much care about that. And so they're having problems catching the fish because they're using the wrong bait. Because they haven't taken the time to get prepared to understand what the fish want. See, the only thing that they're thinking about is what I want. I want you to produce so I can get this other person off of my back. I want you to produce so that I can hit my monthly quota. But they're not considering the fish. There's a quote that I'm going to read to you. And it goes like this. For the supreme test of a fisherman is not how many fish he has caught, and not even how he has caught them, but what he has caught when he has caught no fish. And that quote is by John Bradley. And what this quote is alluding to is the process. What you become in the process of fishing. See, if you keep fishing, you'll get better. If you keep fishing, you'll learn about the spots to go to. If you keep fishing. So the question is, are we becoming a better fisherman in the process? Or are we becoming bitter and cynical? Are we becoming more determined? Or are we thinking about quitting? When